everyone, welcome to the KE Report and a company update from Sitka Gold, chatting with the Director and Vice President of Corporate Development, Mike Burke. Sitka is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SIG, on the OTCQB under the symbol SITKF, and the Frankfurt Exchange 1RF. Now, Mike and I are going to be discussing the most recent news release, March 18th. The first drill hole from the company's fully funded 30,000-meter drill program. It's not assay results, more just visuals. The company saw a lot of visual gold in that drill hole, and I think importantly, this drill hole is also drilled to a depth of over 715 meters, one of the longer drill holes to date on this RC Gold project. Mike, let's start off by just quickly reiterating the drill program for this year. We've talked a lot about the lead up to it, but now that you're drilling, this is your largest drill program ever conducted on this program. So remind everybody of the goals around it, please.
Yeah, exactly. In the last few years, we've drilled about 25,000 meters on the property, and this year we've budgeted for a 30,000 meter drill program. So we're drilling more this year than we have in all the previous years combined. So big year for Sitka Gold at the RC Gold property. Our property has excellent access, and so that's why we're able to start our drill season early. We started in late February drilling on the Blackjack deposit, again looking at the goal of expanding and hopefully increasing grade at that project. That deposit isn't fully drilled off. We updated the resource in January of this year, so it now stands at 1.3 million ounces, and the indicated resource at around a gram, plus another million ounces of inferred, just under a gram. So the deposit is growing nicely in size. So we're following up on that. And that's where we targeted this first hole of the season. So we're in there in the winter, hole 75 that we announced these visuals on. We saw a lot of visible gold in this hole, and seeing visible gold is something that happens on these types of deposits. And ours, we do see visible gold, but this was a lot of visible gold, more than we've seen before, a little bit more than hole 68 that previously was the deepest hole drilled on this deposit. This hole was designed to step out from hole 68 about 70 meters to the northwest. So we were successful in intersecting the intrusion and seeing really encouraging visible gold in there. So we can't necessarily correlate those, occurrences of visible gold directly to the assay results, but obviously we felt it was pretty significant for our shareholders to hear about, and we're anxiously awaiting the results of those assays.
Okay, so that news release says 130 instances of visible gold. Figure 2 in the news release shows this drill hole, all the visible gold occurrences, and how it relates to hole 68 from last year's program, approximately 70 meters apart. Can we compare at all the visible gold that you saw in hole 68, the grades that we got in hole 68, to what you're at least just initially seeing here in hole 75?
Yeah, 68 was comparable, not quite as good as this hole, but, drilling down to 700 meters, over 700 meters like we did in 68 and here in 75, we're testing beyond the limits of an open pit. So we need to see better grades at depth because we're looking at a potential underground mining situation. And so that's what this hole was designed to do. Hole 68, just to remind people, the close to the bottom of that hole, down to 680 meters depth, was an interval of 93 meters of 2.57 grams per ton. So we have seen an increase in the grade at depth, and this hole is designed to keep on testing that to see if it's got potential for, an underground situation below the limits of the open pit scenario. So we're extremely pleased with that, a 70-meter step out, and the widths we're seeing are pretty significant. And we're continuing to test that. Hole 76 that we're now drilling is, again, we're drilling from the same setup as 75, a steeper hole. It's going to go further down in the intrusive and test this potential even further to depth. We've planned that hole for 800 meters. And of course, we'll keep it going if we're still seeing strong mineralization. So we're excited about that drill hole as well.
So, Mike, I guess the most important thing then after these visuals is when we're going to actually get the assay results. Any insights on what the turnaround time looks like?
Yeah, the turnaround time's always better in the springtime here. The assay labs aren't as busy. It's just Sitka Gold drilling in the Yukon right now, as well as Gladiator Metals actually is drilling in the Whitehorse Copper Belt. So there's not a lot of rocks flowing into the lab. So we expect a 3 to 4 week turnaround. We've just about got this entire hole 75 processed. So we expect to have results back in kind of mid to late May. Hole 76 that we're currently drilling. That should take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. So we'll hopefully have that processed and visual results on that around the same time. So we'll see news flow kind of mid-April for the visuals on this hole that we're drilling now, as well as assay results on hole 75.
Mike, let's also talk market reaction because the market reacted quite positively to this news. I think it was up something like 20%. This is clearly a different market because, again, these aren't even assay results. This is visual results from one drill hole. But again, the market moved on this news. Any insights on, I guess, the different tenor in the market that we're seeing and anything that you heard from shareholders or new shareholders on the back of this release?
Yeah, certainly it was a pleasant surprise to see the market react as it did. Gold is now over $3,000 US an ounce, so that was pretty nice timing. We're very happy we started our drill season early and we're able to, get some results out early in the season, especially when we see the appreciation and the price of gold. Again, a different valuation for us is this potential to be looking at an underground resource. That adds a whole new component to this project. And I think that's something that the market is excited about too. So to get some positive results on that potential right out of the gates here was positive news that combined with the gold price and plus seeing early stage drilling early in the season up in the Yukon is something that people have been waiting to see. So a perfect storm, so to speak.
Okay, so then, Mike, news flow wise, look, yes, a lot of drilling to still be done, then drill results. What should we be watching out for news flow wise, including the drilling, but anything else too, please?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to see assay results kind of mid to late April, additional results for hole 76, hopefully, that we're drilling now. Spring melt starts in April, so we'll take about a 3 week to maybe a month break while everything gets muddy, and we'll get back in early May. That's when we'll bring additional drills on the property. So starting in May, you're going to see, a quicker flow of drill results and assays as we bring on the second and third and potentially a fourth drill down the road in the summer. So there's going to be an awful lot of drill results flowing out of this program and other things in the pipe where, right now we're focused on the drilling aspect, but you never know what comes up.
Okay, well, I will follow up with you if something else comes up, but in the meantime, I guess keep on drilling and keep us up to date on what you're seeing in the holes and when we can talk some assay results. If anybody has any follow-up questions for Mike, please email me and I'll get Mike to address those. Also, click that link in the show notes to visit the company's website and read over the recent news, including looking at figure 2 that outlines again where this hole is located. Mike, thank you very much for the update. Again, Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development at Sitka Gold.
Thanks very much, Corey. Yeah, there's a link in that press release to all the occurrences of visible gold. So if you want to copy a picture and put it on your wall, you're more than welcome. There's some very pretty shots of gold in there. So thanks again.